This video is brought to you by Squarespace. Whether you need a domain, website, or online store, make it with Squarespace.
If you keep even with that, just keep it lined up and so slowly.
This is my sister-in-law. Not that sister-in-law, another one. Her name is Andrea, and she's one of my favorite people on Earth. One of the many reasons why is that she is incredibly talented in a creative area that I know absolutely nothing about, and that's clothing. See, Andrea is a seamstress. She owns a small business that specializes in alterations. She takes clothes that aren't quite right, and she fixes them. How she did this, I had no idea. All I knew was that whenever there was a wardrobe emergency in my wife's family, you picked up the phone and called Andrea. Need something sewed? Call Andrea. Need something hemmed? Call Andrea. Something torn and need repaired? Then call Andrea, because she can seemingly do it all. I really didn't know a lot about Andrea when I started dating her sister. She's kind of quiet, very quirky, and keeps to herself more often than not, but I'm glad that I've gotten to know her the past few years, and I feel privileged to now call her family. Recently, Rach and I took a vacation to visit her and her husband, and I finally got to see up close what it takes for her to make stuff.
They're so tiny. Look at it. They're tiny buttons.
Lansing, a great name in buttons.
Lansing, Michigan? Washable. 29 cents. These are old. Most of my buttons are super old because people just give them to me.
Okay, so what's the plan here?
I'm gonna make an Alice in Wonderland dress out of this dress. I got that dress at Antique Alley for like $4.
So show me what it's going to look like.
Okay, I'm kind of channeling this one. It's like a mix between the animated version where she has a shorter skirt.
Right.
But it's still like the poofy light blue. And it's got black buttons down the front, but I don't know if I can find a picture with it. Yeah, it's got like the black buttons that go down the front.
Okay.
So the plan is I'm gonna take one of the flounces off to make it like shorter, because in some of the versions of the dress, like you can see her shoes and her boots, and I'm short, so that will cover up everything if I leave it there. Eventually I'm probably gonna make like a poofy underskirt so that it actually stands out like her dress does. Probably gonna put black buttons down the front, and I might put some fabric up here through the sleeves so that it's not see-through, which I'm gonna cut off the bottom, so this is the plan.
How long do you think it'll take? 4 days.
What?
Okay. How?
I've been thinking about this project for forever. I don't have to make any buttonholes. I don't have to redo any of the original seams. Off. We can do this. Alright, just digging through the button collection. They're perfect. They're perfect. I'm using these.
So what are you're just gonna start cutting?
I'm gonna start cutting.
Wait, what do you just?
I'm cutting the netting right above the lace to separate this piece from the rest of it.
So like whatever you cut off just goes in the, the whatever.
In the collection.
For the next project.
Yeah, for whatever I think of. Ooh, I know. This would be an adorable like little girl dress because that length would just be like the skirt. Oh, are we timing these so that we know who's closer?
So what do you do next?
Okay, next I'm going to fill in these sleeves so they're not just see-through.
Making them more modest?
A bit, yeah. Yeah, that's the plan. Luckily I have all this stuff that I cut off the bottom.
So you can take the stuff from the bottom
and put it on the top.
Good thinking.
Cha.
So I'm watching her do this stuff. Do what you did. I've been sitting on this like all week. Go ahead. Do it.
I just went like...
All of a sudden, just whoa, this shelves underneath. I had no idea. When did you first start sewing?
I think I was somewhere between the ages of like 4 and 6, somewhere in there. Because my mom liked the pretty little embroidery projects. I really latched onto the hand sewing in particular, as opposed to sewing on a sewing machine. Because I didn't start sewing on a sewing machine until I was probably about 10. Like, what do people mean when they mean handmade? Because whenever I make something by hand, I mean that like I have the needle and the thread and I'm stitching the thing together, right, as opposed to sewing it up on a machine. Usually when they put the sticker that says, oh, handmade, that means like a human sat down and sewed, made the thing. Yes. Yeah. She started me on the like the pretty embroidery stuff.
Yeah.
And then I took a fascination in making clothes for a doll that I had. Because I really liked those American Girl books. And I had a favorite character, which was Kirsten. I couldn't afford a $100 doll. And so I had a blonde porcelain doll. And I made her a whole outfit and did her hair up so she looked exactly like the other doll. But she was small. I made my own.
You made your own American Girl.
And there were some steps before I got to that point that are pretty ugly. Some pretty horrendous looking stuff, but it culminated in me wanting to make my own American Girl doll.
Oh, I see. And so now you've turned that into making clothing for people.
Yeah. When I was probably about... I was in middle school, I was probably 12 or 13, I started just making stuff for me. And I very quickly decided that I disliked sewing from patterns because I didn't like people telling me what to do.
Right. You're a rebel like that.
Oh, yeah. So I started just making stuff from scratch. At one point I made one of the twins sit in a chair and be my dressmaker form. So it was Sarah that I had her sit in this chair while I pinned all these little pieces together on her to make like this. The next year I got a dressmaker form for my birthday. What's up?
Oh, that's cool. So that's called a what edge again?
Surged.
Surged edge. Oh wait, weren't you saying that that's like how it is on the bottom of this?
Yeah, that's essentially what that is.
I see. This is funny. You never notice these things. It's just a T-shirt to me, but there's like a whole science behind it.
Science.
So this part's done.
This part's done. Now I'm gonna sew it into the dress. So you go back through the hole.
Right.
And then you go back, hook it back up through your fabric.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you just repeat that for several times. So, do you want this to be part of your button lesson?
Do I get to sew the buttons? Will you let me sew a button?
You can sew a button on.
So what do I do?
So you lay it on your finger
I lay it
and
on
then
my
pinch
finger.
it with your thumb.
Pinch it with my thumb.
And then you wrap it around.
Wrap it around.
And kind of overlap it a little bit. And then you just kind of roll it off the end of your finger.
Roll it off.
With your thumb. Use your thumb to just kind of roll it off.
Roll it off like that.
And then you grab it up here and just pull.
Grab it up here.
Yeah. And just like slide your fingers down the knot.
So pull like that.
Yeah.
Whoa, that's
See?
awesome.
And it's way easier than fiddling.
I dropped it. I'm sorry.
There it is. Take the dress. Or if you want, I can hold the dress. It's up to you.
So I'm gonna just put it like under.
Just straight down.
Like poke through.
Poke through.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Poke yourself.
Yes, poke through.
On top of the needle or below?
Matters not.
So I'm just gonna
poke it through.
Okay, I poked it
and
through.
And then flip it over. Flip the whole dress over.
Okay.
And pull it up.
Pull it up.
Put the button on the needle.
So like that?
Yeah. And just let it drop. Ta-da. Then, since you started on this side of the pin, you're going to put your needle down through this
the other side
and up through this side. Essentially, it's like you're folding it over and sticking it straight through. Through there.
Straight through. Okay, and then pull it?
Yep, and then pull it. Like
this. Right?
Yeah. You essentially just put a button on.
Well, we put a button on. Okay, so
and then
now
you
what
just
do I do?
repeat that process.
So, I'm so scared. Okay, so that through the button. That's one, basically, right? And you do that 5 times?
Yes. Why are you so nervous? It can't hurt you unless you stab yourself, but that's your own fault.
So that's 2.5. 4. Go through the fabric.
Okay.
That's 5. So now what happens?
And then we're going to poke the needle straight back down.
Poke through.
Yep, and then we're turning it back over.
Turn it back around.
So there's your needle.
Okay.
So pull it through.
Pull it through.
And then we're going to tie a knot. So just stick it through and catch just a little bit of fabric, but don't pull it taut.
Like
yes, yes.
And pull it.
Pull it, but leave yourself a loop.
Leave a loop. Okay.
So
there's the loop.
There's your loop. Then you're going to run your needle through that loop 2 times.
Run it through the loop 2 times.
So stick it through.
1
time. Come around and do it a second time.
Come around. Oops, sorry, I poked you. 2,
And then pull it.
pull, and that's a knot.
That's a knot. So you're done. You just cut it off.
Okay, what do I cut it with?
Scissors.
Oh wow. Fancy scissors.
They're just little
Okay,
scissors.
so like right here,
A little higher.
a little higher.
There you
Like
go. Right there.
Ron, look at that. Look at that.
You got this.
Thank you, sis. I'm a
So
seamstress.
you just need to sew 3 more and then
I'm a
we're done.
seamster. Is it seamster? I don't know what it is.
I don't know. I think sometimes they usually choose the word tailor.
Taylor.
So I'm just gonna sew on the last 3 buttons.
Yes.
Unless you,
No.
with your new skill, you could.
I'm all for you finishing this out. After patiently walking me through what I'm sure is one of the most basic techniques in her line of work, Andrea got back into the hot seat and expertly finished the alterations. Within an hour, she had taken a $4 dress and customized it into something that could retail for much, much higher. She's magical like that. All in all, it was fun to be walked through the process of a field I'm totally ignorant of. I've never really given clothing, costumes, or wardrobe much thought, but my afternoon with Andrea gave me a quick glimpse into a world she's known and worked in ever since she was a kid. Everybody's got their thing, I guess, and one of the joys I have in life is seeing how some people can turn their thing from a hobby into a business. This video's sponsor, Squarespace, helps people do just that by making it easy to create a beautiful website for their business or personal project. In fact, Andrea's business uses a website powered by Squarespace to connect her with customers. If you have a small business or some kind of passion project you're wanting to take to the next level, then there's really no harm in giving Squarespace a try. Head over to squarespace.com to start your free trial, and when you're ready to launch, go to squarespace.com/AustinMcConnell to save 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. Thanks to Slow Mo Monday, one of my Patreon supporters, for suggesting this video. Thanks to my sister-in-law Andrea for being so awesome and letting me capture a small look into her life. Big stuff in the works. Hope you guys are well. We'll talk soon.